Welcome, gorgeous seekers, to the spring Q&A. Up here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're getting into the last weeks of winter, and I'm definitely feeling it. I'm definitely feeling like I'm needing to take extra good care of myself. I'm a little stuffed up today just from, I think, the dry, cold air of winter. Just had a snowstorm. I'm having some apple cider vinegar and honey, hot water to just soothe my system because it has been a very intense beginning of the year. There's a lot of travel. I've been moving around a lot, different locations every week, basically. Or if not every week, just a lot of moving around, right? I'm in between trips right now, so I'm in my home base for the moment. And one of the ways I like to take care of myself is definitely with pampering. I am a Leo, you guys. I mean, I am. No shame. I'm low-key high maintenance, as some people have said. And one of the ways that I do take care of myself is with FabFitFun. This is one of those services that has really been good for me. So I am partnering with them, and we're partnering together. These are all my own opinions. This is my impression of what FabFitFun has. And you guys, this is a box that's $49.99. It retails for $49.99. You're getting a $10 discount code with my code Tarot, which I'll leave all that info in the description box. And I think there's over $200 worth of stuff in here. I'm already wearing, one of the things that I'm wearing is this robe, which anybody who knows me knows that when I get home from any kind of big, busy trip, I immediately put on something comfortable. But there's also so many good things in here. And by the way, we will be getting into some really interesting topics. I'm going to be talking a lot more about my personal journey today and what has been coming up for me as far as how I've gotten to this point in the work I do in the world. And we're also going to talk about some ways to stay in alignment and to connect. And we're also going to talk about some juicy astrology dating things that people are wanting to know. So keep posted for just a few minutes. So the FabFitFun spring box came in the mail for me just before I got back, actually, from my last trip, and it was so nice to come home to this cozy robe where I can just lounge. And then they give you, it's crazy. It's they know who I am. This wild rose mask. I put this on at night. First of all, it smells amazing. This is the kind of thing that is just designed for a Leo at the end of a long day. It smells so good, so brightening and fresh. So I've been using this every night actually recently since I got it, and really loving the hydration that it's provided. So Wild Rose Sauvage has been really beautiful. I'm super excited to start using this champagne charcoal scrub from, what is the band? Relax. So that is looking amazing. Look at this stuff. It's legit. Also smells amazing. I'm all about scents. Maybe one of my favorite, they gave me the Venus Williams jump rope. So I'm not a jump roper. I've never really, I feel like I always think I'm going to be really into jump roping, and it kicks my butt in 10 seconds. So maybe this is a good call to action for me to get back into my jump roping phases. I also got this month, and it's a little bit different. Every box is a little bit different, and you can customize your box. So, these are things that are meant for me and kind of my style, but there's add-ons. You can customize your box. You get options for all of this stuff, so that's kind of awesome. But from Way Hair Care, this stuff has been amazing. It's a leave-in conditioner, and I've been really enjoying it. Not only does it smell amazing, but I live in a very dry climate in the high desert, where I basically am constantly having to hydrate everything from the inside out and outside in. So this kind of leave-in conditioner is amazing for me. It's definitely something I will use. This depuffing little eye thing, I've been having a lot of long nights and busy work schedules and just getting things moving and organized and getting up early to go travel, and just this refreshing, it's super cooling. It's called it's Dr. Brandt's Needles No More, so it's a nice depuffing, brightening, and cooling thing. I also got this amazing, do you see how many things you get in one of these boxes? This amazing body lotion by Levido, and this one just smells so good. Once again, I'm always moisturizing most of the day when I'm here in the high desert. I'm looking forward to being in some more moisturizing, hydrating climates, to be honest, this year. And they also gave me this awesome water bottle. Speaking of hydration, I think this box is basically hydration and telling me that I need to start jump roping and just hydrating. So it's kind of amazing. I'm really excited to have one of these because I also, having a traveling water bottle, I like the metal ones quite a bit, actually. I have a glass one right now, and it's really heavy, so I'm kind of excited to switch over to glass. But yeah, there's the spring box. That was my spring box. And like I said, it's like a lot of stuff. And what I love about it is like I'm not having to go out there and do all the research into what is out there and figure out what to buy. And then like I get to just come home to my box when I've been traveling for weeks and get all this new inspirational stuff and try stuff out. So it's a really great way for me to get to try out all that Leo luxury stuff that I love to do, because I do love to pamper myself. It's true. I won't deny it. It's a big part of my life, and I really cherish it. So, first topic on the books, like how do I take care of myself? One of the ways is I just invest a little bit in myself. So if you're interested in that, you can find all the info in the description box. My promo code for that is $10 off with the code Tarot. So if you are interested, you can go check out FabFitFun. They're a lot into female founded companies as well, so, and nonprofits, so and charities. So I'm really into all of that. They've been really fantastic to connect with. So let's get into some of these deeper topics today and see what we have coming up. Because I asked you guys on Instagram like a month ago or a few weeks ago questions that you wanted to see in a Q&A, and you sent me a ton of questions. I loved reading through them. It's so fun to see what comes up as far as topics. And one of the most frequently asked questions I get is how I started tarot and how I got into this line of work and how I started the channel and all of it, like the whole journey from point A to point B. And it is an interesting journey because I basically grew up, I didn't grow up in like a magical household by any stretch of the imagination. Both of my parents have like science degrees, and but I've always been kind of the little weird kid in my family, the troublemaker in my family, and my mom actually had her own deck that I picked up when I was about 10 and couldn't put it down. And it was just something that has been a part of my life. I still use it in some of the videos, and I use it with clients to this day. It's a really special deck. In fact, I have it right here next to me, and I've brought it up before, but yeah, this is my mom's deck. So this is the first deck I ever had, and I really cherish it. It's really special. Oh, and the Empress is on the bottom. That's so nice. Yeah, so this is my favorite deck, and I've started using this when I was probably about 9 or 10. And it just stuck with me. So, I have a degree in history. I have a master's in history, and I've done a lot of study about symbolism and identity and archetypes and all of that. I've done a lot of writing, a lot of research. So it all kind of just ties together. I started doing readings as a teenager in my early 20s, and everybody would always ask me to do them. Not everybody, but certain people. And it was just one of those things that was building slowly in the background of my life. As I read more, as I studied more, and then as I did the sessions with people around me and in my life, it was just something that was growing in the background of all these other things I was doing, getting different education, working other crazy jobs. It was definitely not a straight road to what I'm doing now. And honestly, in some ways, a few years ago, I didn't see it coming. I had just gotten back from traveling the world with my last partner, and I was just kind of regrounding and finding my feet again. And we had actually just broken up after a really intensive trip together, like traveling for almost a year. So I was just sitting there, recentering, regrounding, getting my head, and it was basically a calling to share readings with people on YouTube, which at the time when that message came through for me, I thought was really funny. And I was like, 5 people are going to watch this, and then I'm going to be off the hook and I won't have to do this YouTube thing anymore. But what ended up happening is that here we are now. People started to show up, and we started to have this experience together. And it became more and more a part of my life and what I do. So it over the last couple of years, it's been a journey that, like I said, I didn't necessarily see coming as like a central point of the work I do in the world. I knew I always wanted to teach. I knew I always wanted to share ideas and write and connect. I always knew I wanted to be a communicator and move through the world in that way, but I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. And it all just kind of, in hindsight, it all makes so much sense, just the way I am as a person and the sensitivity and the strange things I've experienced in my life. It's like, of course, this is what I'm doing. But it was definitely a long and lifelong journey with the tarot, and something that just kind of is natural with me. It's a natural tool set for me to use because of the symbolism of it all, and the way my mind works and the way my communication works. I think tarot is just a tool that is really fun to use. So it's been a beautiful journey, and a lot of people want to know, like, can anyone use tarot? Absolutely. Can anyone learn it? Can anyone use it? When should I use it? When is the wrong time to use it? And we talked about this a little bit in the winter Q&A when I brought this up, but anybody can use tarot, right? It really is a tool for anybody and everybody. And I know a lot of people, they're concerned, you want to get the right book and you want to get the right materials and want to read the right thing. Well, there are tons of decks out there at this point. There are oracle decks, there are traditional Rider-Waite decks, there are lots of newer decks that use like animal and magic symbolism that use the same archetypes just with different imagery. Play around, figure out what decks are really speaking to you. I love the classic symbolism Rider-Waite. I think it gives everybody that like familiarity of that touchstone culturally, so that we're taking away some of the other elements of reading into it. However, there are some beautiful decks out there, and everybody has a different way of feeling through that. And of course, as you get into it more, you can read about each of the cards and start to like work through and remember what they're representing with the numbers involved with it and the imagery involved with it, and the arc between all the four different elements of pentacles, wands, swords, and what's the cups? Sorry. Like I said, I'm in the midst of 2 trips right now, and this is like my little moment to just like reset before I hit the road again. So I'm a little slow this morning, you guys. So, anybody can use tarot. I think it's an amazing tool. The main thing that I do want to say about, though, if you're doing readings for yourself or you like to utilize it for yourself, just keep in mind, if you start to get a little obsessive about it and want to pull all the time, the messages will just end up getting muddled, and you can convince yourself of some interesting things using this tool. So I like to say, just save it. Save it for those times when you're really feeling connected and you're really feeling centered and you're really feeling relaxed and calm. That's when you're going to get the best readings, especially if you're working with it on yourself. Okay, let's see what other questions we have to come in. Oh, and also a lot of people want to know if I am going to be teaching classes, if I teach tarot. This year I'm hoping to be starting up some classes all around in different locations. I will keep you guys posted as those come up, but the goal is to create some 2-hour classes or so that people can show up to. We can do some like workshopping, just the whole process of connecting with the deck, feeling through it, doing some spreads, and seeing what's coming up for you in the process that's coming up for you. So there will be in-person classes in the next several months. We will be building that and creating that. So keep an eye out, because that will be happening. Okay, so now let's get into some odds and ends, some of the fun questions that were coming up for the Q&A for spring. How much stock do I put into sun sign compatibility? I loved this question because I know astrology it's a classic thing of what's your birthday, and then you're like, oh, you're a Cancer, I'm a Sagittarius, I don't know, and does it work? And I know all of you and most of you out there have had crushes on people and immediately looked at the sun sign compatibility and may or may not have gotten like some dire report about how a person shouldn't be with this person because they'll just never see eye to eye. And honestly, I think that's I'm not a huge fan. While it's fun on this superficial level to do that, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I think it's so much fun to to play with that. You know, we all have our sun sign tendencies, and there is something about the natural way we move through the world when we have our sun sign illuminated that does affect the way we move through the world. However, human beings are so much more. Each being is so much more than just the day they were born. Obviously, there's the aspect of like the entire chart. You have rising, you have moon, you have Venus, Mars, Mercury, all playing into aspects of a person, you know, and every chart is so organically unique. It can really, somebody who has like a fire sun may actually have a lot of emotive depth and a lot of water in their chart, which will modify how they move through the world. You know, a Sagittarius with a ton of Scorpio in their chart, they are going to have a very different flavor to, let's say, a Sag with a whole bunch of Aquarius or a whole bunch of Leo in their chart, right? So you can't really tell. And the other thing I've been really thinking about recently is, you know, we all have the things that we enjoy in life. We have the natural energies that we are really good at connecting with and we're really easy to connect with. But part of our goal here in being in this world and on this planet and connecting with other people is to learn how to connect with all types of energy and to learn how to be open to all types of energy and to really feel through that. And sometimes I think we limit ourselves when we start to pigeonhole people. So I think it's really important too that we take a person as a whole being and not just look at the fact that they're a Gemini or a Capricorn and say, oh, I would never date them, because it's a little dehumanizing in a way, don't you think? So I don't really put much stock into sun sign compatibility. Like I said, I think it's fun on the surface level, and it can be really true maybe in initial interactions, but there's so much depth below the surface. I remember when I started dating my Scorpio ex, if you look up Leo Scorpio, just pop astrology compatibility, they're like, oh, this is like a terrible combination. You should never do this. This is the worst thing. But that was a really meaningful relationship, and we spent several years together. So, yeah, I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt, I think. Okay. So let's get into some questions about manifestation. I know that's a big word coming up these days, is like how to manifest. What does that look like? What's the best way to manifest? Are we doing it wrong? And somebody said, can you manifest wrong? And wrong is an interesting word, right? Because is anything ever really wrong, right? But I think we're getting at there is like, can you kind of manifest something where it comes out a little wonky or it comes out a little different than you think it's going to come out? And here's the thing, it's kind of that be careful what you ask for. You know, you say you want like a really passionate driven person, right? Let's say you're wanting to manifest a partner and you really get into the mindset, I want to manifest a really passionate, driven, focused person. Great. Well, you might manifest somebody who is very focused on their career and doesn't have too much time for being home with you, enjoying you. And here's the thing, and the reason that manifestation practice, and I think we've all been there where we've asked for something and then you really get the literal representation of it and you realize like, oh yeah, there were these nuances underneath that I wanted. And what's going on there is that we are manifesting from a place of true desire. There's an honest desire there of what we're asking for. There's something very real there about what we're asking for. But, you know, the answer isn't to get more technical and say, okay, well, I want a passionate, driven person, and now let's list out this 50-line list of all the little details I want to manifest in a partner. What's going on there is that instead of focusing on the emotional resonance of what does it feel like to have this partner in my life, what does like a weekend day where we are together and we're doing something feel like, that is where we're going to get a more authentic manifestation of what we're looking for, right? When we start to get into the more analytical, let's put this person on paper, you really do get the literal representation of that person, but you may not get the emotive quality that you're asking for, in which case you're going to kind of second guess your own manifestation abilities, and you're going to think, oh no, like I don't know how to ask for these things. And it really is true that what you're looking for is when you're daydreaming and when you're thinking about what you want to manifest, you really want to imagine how it feels. Imagine the feeling of it and the way your body would feel and the way your energy would feel, and just really feel the emotions. That is really the best way to get what you need in the universe. And the thing is, a lot of times we don't even know exactly what package that's going to come in or what package is going to be best for us to get that emotional payoff. And that's the beauty of it. And we're not trying to mastermind it. We're not trying to control it. We're not trying to hold it in place so that we have control of it, right? So it's really important to kind of check in with that. Why are you asking for the focus-driven person? Is it because you want to feel free and independent from them? Do you want to feel that you have some space from them? There's a lot of things going on there with what we're asking for, what we're really asking for deep down, right? How do we stay connected to feeling good when things are really hard? That's a great question. And we addressed this a little bit in the winter Q&A as well, but let's get back into it because I think it's really important. First of all, sometimes life is just really hard. We have those times in life where everything seems to be going awry. We lose jobs, relationships, everything kind of just crumbles and we're having to start afresh, and grief from the loss of loved ones and things like that are so unavoidable and such a very real part of this experience. And I don't think we ever need to downplay that, right? Because it is a legitimate part of this experience. And as much as positive thinking is amazing and it helps us in so many ways, it's also important to allow us to feel through the range of emotions. So first of all, I want to say that, there are just times when you have to feel grief and you have to feel loss and you have to let it run its course through your body and through your being so that you can feel freer and lighter. But, in general, there's also just times in life where things are just a little tough. Like, you only have one car because one of the cars, broke down. So you're having to share your car with your partner, and you have the kids, and you're running around, and just things are just feeling hard, or you're on a budget. And it's not so much that things are catastrophic, it's just that it's a little challenging. This is a great time to check in with the little details. And this is what I always say about this. And it's something it's a practice that I've been instituting the last several months. And it's been really helpful for feeling in alignment. And it's this: to start savoring even the most mundane of things. A lot of times we're just in a rush to get through it. Okay, I'm just going to get these dishes done so that they're just not in my way anymore. Okay, I'm going to get dressed really fast and throw the laundry in so that I don't have to think about it anymore. Just get it off of my list, right? And when we start thinking like that, basically life just turns into this one after another to-do list of how we can get it off of our to-do list. So one of the ways to start just feeling a little bit more in tune and a little bit more in alignment is when you have that sink full of dishes, rather than trying to rush through and get it done as quickly as possible and just be like, oh, it's out of my way. Take some time there. Start enjoying the way that it feels to wash the dish and wash the water, wash it away, and putting it in order, and just be really present with it. It sounds kind of hokey and ridiculous, but I'm telling you that as you're just kind of present with the process, you realize how amazing it is. And as you start to just dive into all these little moments in the day, it suddenly starts to feel like everything is enough. And even the simplest things are enough to make you feel a little bit more whole. And sometimes I'm always saying this, but the micro and the macro lenses are really where the good things are. We get lost in the middle management. Middle management in our mindsets is where we get into trouble when we make things really hard for ourselves and we start to think negatively. So if you stay on the micro scale, which is what I was talking about with doing some dishes and just really taking your time, paying attention to the details, going for a walk and taking your time to look around you, that's the micro scale, right? Those little moments in the day, those little joys and pleasures, eating some fresh grapes or what have you. And then the macro lens, which is all about fantasy and daydreaming and tapping into our emotional potential, right? And that's a beautiful place to go. Look at the huge picture. Ask for those beautiful fantasies, right? Those are where we feel good. Those are where we actually have the power to manifest and create an experience. The middle management is this whole area where it's well, in the next month I need to manhandle this day, and if I make this call now, then I'll feel better next week. And it's always this putting off, and then we start to feel kind of empty. We start to feel kind of lackluster about what we're doing and who we are. And so this is a really great practice to feel like you are in alignment and where you're feeling good, even when life is tricky, even when life, you've just had a bad breakup and you're feeling really lonely. The smallest steps that you're taking within that are beautiful. And that is really the best place you're going to find empowerment and even immediate relief in just the course of one day. It's really possible. It does take a little bit of self-discipline, and it does take like remembering, oh yeah, I'm coming back here to do this and to show up for this really gently and slowly. It does take some practice. It's like a lifetime practice. It does take a little bit of discipline to get but don't feel discouraged. It just starts with one small thing, right? Another question that people have about manifestation is, will indifference manifest what I want? Now, I kind of like this question because this whole idea of like, if you don't care about something, then it seems to manifest a lot easier. And that's really true. Like the things that we're like really wanting, like I really want to be with this person. I really want this house. I really want this job. And we're just like clenched, and you can just feel yourself just like power focusing on it, right? And then it seems to kind of evade you a little bit, and you're like confused as to why. And then those times when you're just like, I guess I'll throw that application out there. Oh, I guess I'll make that phone call. I don't know. I don't really care though, either way. And then it's like it all just happens. There is something to that, right? And that's because we want to hold our desires lightly. So yes, in some degree, it's like you want to tap in and say, oh yeah, I'd like that. And then you want to get off the topic again, right? The more we hyper fixate on something, we're oftentimes fixating on the lack of it. We're oftentimes fixating on the fact that we are over here and this thing or this experience is over here, and we're divided. And as we hyper focus, we're amplifying that and amplifying that and amplifying that experience of it. When we say, oh yeah, I like that thing, and then we just release it, it releases resistance from it arriving to us, basically. So that's what the indifference or that kind of lightheartedness about something we want helps us to get the results that we want, right? So there is something to that. And this is another one of those tricks. It's just like when you start to feel that you really want something and you're starting to feel that hunger in your body, when you just like, you realize you really want this, and you feel that hunger just start to eat at you, where it's like you have the potential to get really obsessive. The best thing I can say is to catch yourself in that moment where you start to feel the wild wolf hunger of I'm going to get this. Catch yourself right in that moment. And take a deep breath, right? And release yourself from that prison. Just say, it's okay. It will come to me. And then go do something else. Go talk to another friend. Go do a project that you like to do. Go do something immediately that's on that micro scale, right? And I think that's really the trick. We have to catch ourselves right when we're about to put ourselves in the prison of hunger for the thing we want, and just release those bars. Like as you take that breath in and as you breathe out, imagine all those prison bars of hunger melting and dissolving and flowing away from you. And I promise you, life just starts to take on such a different feel. So yes, I think the concept of indifference does help things come in, but you can't fake that, right? I think a lot of times we try and fake it. We're like, I don't really care about that, but deep down we're like thinking about it really hard, and that doesn't really work. It really has to be this place of ease. And it's all just practicing. It's practicing like anything else you'd practice, like me practicing with that jump rope. Eventually, I'll probably get a lot better at it. But at the beginning, it's not going to be so good, right? I'm not going to last very long. I'm going to have to like take breaks and figure it out, so everything's a practice. So that's going to be it, I think, for this winter Q&A, because we could just go on and on. There will be more of these. There will be more just personal stories, sit-down chats. I think I want to do a little bit more that has to do with connection and relationships, because I think a lot of people are into that. I also think it would be really fun to do a series, and I want to see if you guys are interested in this here on YouTube, about the misconceptions of each sign and how sometimes pop astrology and these umbrellas that we get put under for each of the signs is kind of askew, and how there's all these nuances, like the secret underside of all the other signs. Do you think that would be something fun to do? Because I think that would be such a fun series to produce. So I will also just keep you posted. I'm still thinking about doing the Uranus and Chiron extras for those long-term transits and what they are doing for each of the signs. I think that would be beautiful. There are so many projects ahead, so much to do. 2019 is a full, very fast-moving year. I'm excited about it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have a beautiful next couple of months, and I will see you very soon.